Hello and welcome back to the channel. Following on from the last video where we dropped the engine out of the Civic, I'm now on to trying to recoup some money from it. So I thought a rocker cover restoration would go down a treat, and then I could maybe pop it on eBay and try and get 30, 40 or 50 quid back from it. So now that it's off the car, the first thing I'm going to do is give it a really good degrease. The purpose of this is to get all the oil off of the rocker cover and see what I'm left to work with, mainly so that when I put some paint stripper on it, it doesn't just sit on top of any oil. Now that the valve cover is nice and clean, inside and out, it leads me on to the paint stripping process. For that, I'm going to try this product. It's called Paint Panther. I've never used it before, but I've seen other people using it on paint and it seems to do a really good job. So let's see just how well it does. All you do with this is just pour it on, get an old brush, paintbrush or something like that, and just spread it around, and then leave it for 10 to 15 minutes to go to work. You want to be quite liberal with your application of this, so that it's got plenty of product to eat into the paint. Now I was hoping I was going to get one of those really cool reactions where I would basically see speeding it up and seeing that paint wrinkle up ready to pull off, but it's quite safe to say that I didn't really get that from this. So in the end, what I did was just done a few applications, really took my time with it, let the product try to go to work as much as possible, and then got a Stanley blade out and started to scrape the product off, and it actually started to come off really quite nicely using this process. Would be careful here to make sure that you are using PPE. When I was applying it I didn't, but when my fingers were going to be close to the product I figured that I better get some gloves on because I don't really want that stuff getting on my hands, as it does have a caustic warning on the bottle. After a few applications with a paint stripper, I decided I wasn't really getting to where I wanted to be quick enough, so I just got the sandpaper out, and after about 20 to 30 minutes of sanding, we were looking something like this, and it was ready for a bit of a IPA wipe down and almost ready to paint. At this point you want to get yourself all masked up, so you want to do things such as your oil filler, your spark plug coils, anywhere where your valve cover or rocker cover mounts to the head, just bits like that that you don't want to get paint on, and then you'll be good to start painting. After, of course, another IPA wipe down. The paint of choice for me is the VHT Wrinkle Red paint, as I'm trying to get a kind of OEM Type R vibe kind of look from this product here, and it instructs you to use it in 3 different ways. You apply the paint horizontally first, give it a nice full coat, then after 5 minutes of waiting you want to go in with your second coat, and that's going to be a vertical coat of paint, and then your third and final coat of paint after another 5 minutes is a diagonal coat of paint. Once you've followed this process, you want to leave the paint to dry for as long as you can, or get yourself a heat gun out. As I was doing this in quite high temperatures, I could see the paint starting to wrinkle up before my eyes. However, I did still get the heat gun just to give it a little bit of assistance before I left it baking in the sun for a good few hours. And just one other thing to mention with this kind of paint is to note that there's no need to use primer with it. It is a straight to metal paint, which is really handy. Once I decided I'd done enough coats and I was happy with the finish, I took the masking tape off while the paint was still slightly tacky, just so as it didn't pull any of the paint off if it was too cured, and I was left with something looking a little bit like this. Now, for some reason, the wrinkle underneath the Honda badge did wrinkle up a lot more than what it did above it, but I can live with it and I'm still happy with how it's looking at the moment. The final part of this process for me was to get the Honda sticking out. So what I'm going for is the kind of brushed aluminium, brushed steel effect. So I'm just going to mask off around about the Honda. This is a solid 2 days later, by the way, just so you know the paint is fully cured. And then attacked it with some sandpaper on a flat block. And after a lot of sanding, this is what we were left with. If you have made it this far into the video and you do like the content, if you could do me a massive favour and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, even drop a comment if you think it's worth it. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, it doesn't cost you anything. Apart from that, thank you for watching. I really like how this one came out, I'm really happy with it, and I hope somebody else is really happy with it if they decide to buy it. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look